Adaeze was on her way to the market, her basket balanced perfectly on her head, humming softly to herself. The path was quiet, shaded by tall trees. The breeze carried the scent of fresh palm wine from a nearby tapas hut. Chike appeared around a bend in the road, tall, handsome, and confident. His shirt was tucked into his trousers, his step steady and sure. He had heard of Adaeze's beauty, but seeing her up close, he froze. Their eyes met. "Good morning," he said, his smile warm and boyish. Adaeze lowered her gaze shyly. "Good morning. Let me help you with your basket," he offered. She shook her head gently. "I can manage." But Chike insisted, not with arrogance, but with genuine kindness. As they walked together, conversation flowed naturally. Chike made her laugh. Adaeze, who was usually reserved, found herself telling him things she never shared with anyone. By the time they reached the market, something had started, something small, gentle, but powerful enough to grow. Days passed, weeks, months. Their friendship deepened. He visited her mother's house often, bringing fruits, helping with chores, sitting under the mango tree as they talked for hours. Chike was a different man than the other men in the village. He was hardworking, respectful, full of dreams and promises. Their love blossomed like hibiscus flowers after the rain. The village rejoiced when they announced their union. People danced, sang, and blessed their home. Adaeze believed she had found her soulmate.
Pack your things and leave my house. Look at the ugly thing you have given me. I know the one you carry is not different from this.
Chike, what is happening?
Chike yelled as his voice thundered through the village. The sun was high in the sky, casting a golden heat over the dusty compound when everything changed for Adaeze. For years, she had stood beside Chike through hunger, through sickness, through those long nights when he swore things would one day be better. She believed him, she trusted him, she carried his children. She fought for their future, but today, she did not recognize the man standing before her. Chike stood with his arm wrapped possessively around a much younger woman, curvy, confident, dressed in a tight red mini dress that clung to her body like a second skin. Her eyes held no sympathy, just triumph. Adaeze's swollen feet trembled beneath her. Her pregnancy was heavy, painful, but not as painful as the scene unfolding before her. "Chike, what is happening?" she whispered, holding tightly to their little daughter's hand. He didn't even look at her. Instead, he pointed sharply toward the gates. "You will leave this house today," he said. His voice was cold, hard, a stranger's voice. "Go back to your people. I'm done with this marriage." Adaeze blinked, stunned. Done? After everything? She looked at the young woman pressed against him, her red dress glowing in the noon sun. The woman smirked, enjoying the chaos. "Chike," Adaeze's voice cracked. "You're sending me away, with your child still inside me, with your daughter standing beside me?" The little girl clung tighter to her wrapper, confused, frightened. But Chike did not waver. He raised his chin and spoke as though casting a judgment. "You are a burden, Adaeze, a curse. I need peace, I need happiness, and a woman who will give birth to beautiful children. Not this thing you call a child," pointing at his daughter. His other hand tightened around the young woman. "She will give me what you never could." Adaeze felt the words slap her harder than any hand ever could. A burden? A curse? After she sacrificed everything for him? The pregnancy that drained her strength, that took her youthful glow, the night she went to bed hungry so he could eat, the insults from his family she swallowed just to keep their home together, all suddenly meant nothing. Her eyes filled with tears, but she refused to let them fall. Not in front of him, not in front of her. She straightened her back, though her body trembled. So after all the years I walked beside you, she murmured, you choose a stranger over the mother of your children? Chike's jaw tightened. He had already made up his mind. She is not a stranger. She is my future. Adaize's heart shattered. But even broken, she gathered her dignity like a rapper blowing in the harmattan. She lifted her small bag with trembling hands. She took her daughter's hand firmly, and without another word, she turned towards the gates. Every step felt like walking with a mountain on her back. But she did not look back, not once. The villagers watched from afar, whispering behind their backs. Some pitied her, some judged her. But fate was watching too. Before now, Adaize was a beautiful woman, in fact, the most beautiful woman in the entire village. Every man wished to have her as his wife. Whenever she passed, men would pause just to admire her charm, her elegance, the way the sun seemed to settle gently on her skin. The maidens in the village accepted the truth. Adaize was unmatched. Though some burned with jealousy because men no longer sang their praises, they sang hers. Whenever she went to the stream to fetch water, men rushed to help her. Young men fought over who would carry her pot. Some would even follow her home, helping her mother with firewood, just for the chance to be noticed. But Adaize was humble, soft-spoken, kind. She smiled at everyone, greeted the elders with respect, carried herself with grace, and that was what caught Chike's attention the day they met. Adaize was on her way to the market, her basket balanced perfectly on her head, humming softly to herself. The path was quiet, shaded by tall trees. The breeze carried the scent of fresh palm wine from a nearby tapas hut. Chike appeared around a bend in the road, tall, handsome, and confident. His shirt was tucked into his trousers, his step steady and sure. He had heard of Adaize's beauty, but seeing her up close, he froze. Their eyes met. "Good morning," he said, his smile warm and boyish. Adaize lowered her gaze shyly. "Good morning. Let me help you with your basket," he offered. She shook her head gently. "I can manage." But Chike insisted, not with arrogance, but with genuine kindness. As they walked together, conversation flowed naturally. Chike made her laugh. Adaize, who was usually reserved, found herself telling him things she never shared with anyone. By the time they reached the market, something had started something small, gentle, but powerful enough to grow. Days passed, weeks, months. Their friendship deepened. He visited her mother's house often, bringing fruits, helping with chores, sitting under the mango tree as they talked for hours. Chike was a different man than the other men in the village. He was hardworking, respectful, full of dreams and promises. Their love blossomed like hibiscus flowers after the rain. The village rejoiced when they announced their union. People danced, sang, and blessed their home. Adaize believed she had found her soulmate. She believed she had chosen well. She believed love would carry them through everything. But love was not enough to save her from this day. When they got married, 1 month into the marriage, Adaize got pregnant. Everyone was happy. Chike was overjoyed. In the evenings, he would sit with his friends under the udala tree, boastful and full of pride. "I can't wait to hold my beautiful child," he would say, tapping his chest proudly. "I know she will look like me." His friends laughed, clapped him on the back, and celebrated with him. The whole village believed Adaize, the most beautiful maiden in the land, would surely give birth to a child whose beauty would be spoken of for generations. But 3 months into the pregnancy, something strange happened that shocked the entire village. Adaize, the once radiant beauty, the woman whose presence could silence a gathering, began to change. At first, People said it was normal. Pregnancy changes the body, they murmured. It will pass, but it didn't. By the 6th month, Adaeze had become almost unrecognizable. Her cheeks sank as though life was being drained from her. Her collarbones protruded sharply. Her glowing brown eyes turned pale, shadowed with exhaustion and sadness. Her waist, once admired by every maiden and man, looked fragile. Her skin lost its warm richness. The once beautiful Adaeze became something no one could understand. Even the oldest women in the village whispered, "This is not ordinary." Her husband, Chike, was supportive at first. He held her hands during the long nights when she cried. He rubbed her back whenever she struggled to breathe. He whispered gently, "Don't worry, my love. I still love you. When you give birth, your body will take shape again." Adaeze clung to those words. They were the only thread holding her heart together. Months passed. The day she went into labor, the entire village gathered outside the hut. People prayed. Some feared what would come out of her. And when the baby arrived, gasps filled the room. The baby, tiny, fragile, sunken-faced, looked exactly like Adaeze. The same pale eyes, the same shrunken cheeks, the same tiredness written across her small features. At that moment, Chike's face changed. Something dark crossed his eyes. He forced a smile for the villagers watching, but inside him something broke. From that day, he unraveled. He stayed out drinking with his friends, sometimes returning at midnight, sometimes never returning at all. The baby would cry. Adaeze would rock her gently, humming with the last strength in her soul. Chike never held a child, never kissed her, never asked how she was growing. He avoided Adaeze completely. If their eyes met, he looked away quickly, almost with disgust. Adaeze tried to speak to him. She begged him to talk to her. "Chike, what is happening to us?" she would whisper. But he brushed past her every time. "I'm stressed from work," he would snap. And that was the end of every conversation. 2 years passed. 2 long, painful years, where their home became a silent graveyard of dreams. The love story that once inspired the village turned into a nightmare no one dared to mention. One night, Chike stumbled home drunk. The moon was high, the compound quiet. He pushed open the door, smelling of palm wine and sweat. Adaeze was sleeping on the edge of the bed, curled around her daughter. Chike climbed into the bed heavily, too drunk to think. Something happened that night, not out of love, but out of accident, drunkenness, and forgotten affection. And by morning, Chike opened his eyes, sobering quickly. He saw Adaeze sleeping beside him, her shrunken face turned toward his arm. His heart tightened with something dark, a mix of regret, anger, disbelief, and rejection. He stood up from the bed, as though burned. His voice rose, trembling with disgust. "What have I done?" he muttered. "What nonsense is this? God forbid!" He stormed out of the hut, breathing hard, pacing, running his hands through his hair, as if trying to erase the memory of sharing a bed with his own wife. To him, it felt like he had slept with a stranger, not with the woman he once loved deeply, not with Adaeze. And from that moment onward, something in him broke completely. From that morning onward, Chike changed completely. He couldn't even look at Adaeze without anger tightening his chest. He avoided her like a plague. He slept in the parlor, sometimes outside on a bench. Anything to distance himself from the woman he once swore to love forever. Adaeze noticed the shift. She felt it like a knife twisting deeper each day. He no longer spoke to her. He no longer touched his daughter. He moved around the house as though he were a visitor trapped in a nightmare. But deep inside her, Adaeze felt something else growing, something she feared to admit. A few weeks after that drunken night, she began to feel the familiar signs, the morning sickness, the dizziness, the heaviness that crawled in her lower stomach. She knew she was pregnant. Fear seized her. What would Chike do? How would he react when he already hated the sight of the first child? When he couldn't stand her presence? That evening, she sat him down, her hands trembling. Chike, I need to tell you something. He didn't look up. He kept peeling roasted yam as though she were nothing but wind. Chike, I think I'm pregnant. The knife fell from his hand. Slowly, he lifted his eyes filled with shock, disgust, and something darker. What did you just say? Adaeze's lips shook, but she repeated softly, I am pregnant. Silence. Complete, terrifying silence. Then he laughed. A cold, empty laugh that did not reach his eyes. Pregnant? He said. With what? A second curse? Tears welled in her eyes. Chike, please. He stood, towering over her, his voice rising. No, no, Adaeze. I will not accept this. I will not father another creature that looks like that one in the room. He pointed toward the huts where their daughter slept peacefully. Adaeze covered her mouth as though his words were blows. Chike paced around the compound like a man trapped. You tricked me that night, he spat. You planned this. You wanted to tie me here forever with things that don't even resemble human children. The words stabbed her heart. That night, he didn't sleep in the house. He stayed out drinking with the younger woman he had begun to see in secret. The same one who would later stand beside him in a tight red dress, smiling as Adaeze's world shattered. Day by day, Chike drifted farther away. He rejected her food. He refused to escort her to the clinic. He stopped contributing a single coin to the house. At the village square, he whispered to his friends, I don't know what kind of spirit this woman carries. She has turned into something else. Even her children come out looking like her affliction. Rumors spread like wildfire. Some villagers wondered if Adaeze was cursed. Some believed she had offended an ancestral spirit. Others avoided her completely, fearing the unknown sickness that stole her beauty and strength. But inside her hut, in the quiet darkness, Adaeze cried alone. She held her daughter close and whispered, I don't know why this is happening to me, but I will not abandon you or the one inside me. Her mother visited often, praying over her, advising her, pleading with her to come home. But Adaeze stayed. She stayed because of love. She stayed because she hoped the man she married would come back, the man who once rubbed her feet after long days, who laughed with her under the mango tree, who promised her a lifetime of happiness. But that man was gone, replaced by someone she no longer recognized. Months crawled by. Adaeze grew weaker. Her stomach grew heavier. Her face sank even deeper. Her eyes loosened their spark completely. The villagers watched as she walked, slow and exhausted, to the stream. Some whispered in pity. Some whispered in fear. Chike barely came home anymore. And when he did, he simply slept, ate, and left again. Their home was no longer a home. It was a battlefield of silence and broken dreams. But destiny was only just beginning to unfold. 7 months into her pregnancy, when Adaeze could barely walk without holding her lower belly for support, the worst happened. Chike came home that afternoon with a woman beside him. Not just any woman. A beautiful, much younger woman, curvy, confident, her skin glowing, her steps bold. She wore a tight red dress that clung to her body like a second skin. Her smile was sharp. Her eyes held no sympathy. She stood there like she owned the place. Adaeze froze where she stood, her breath caught in her throat. Chike, who is she? She whispered, her voice trembling. Why? Why are you bringing another woman into our home? Chike didn't hesitate. He didn't blink. His lips curved into an expression that was half pride, half cruelty. She's here, he said coldly, to give me what you cannot give me. Ifimo, sini esen, pimi esen asen of. Adeze stared, shocked beyond words. What do you mean? Chike raised his chin, his voice louder now, almost enjoying the pain in her eyes. Pack your things and leave my house. The words hit her like a thunderbolt. The younger woman smirked, stepping even closer to Chike, as if marking her territory, her red dress glistening in the sun. Adaize held her belly with one hand, and her daughter's small fingers with the other. Her daughter hid behind her wrapper, confused and frightened. Chike, please, she whispered, tears filling her eyes. Where do you want me to go? I am carrying your child. But Chike's face was unmoved. I don't care. Leave before sunset. That evening, Adaize packed her few belongings slowly, painfully, while holding back sobs that nearly choked her. Her daughter stood silently beside her, watching her mother's tears fall. The little girl didn't understand everything, but she understood heartbreak. With nowhere to go, Adaize tied their clothes in a wrapper, strapped her daughter to her back, picked up a small pot, and stepped outside the house she once called home. She stood there for a moment, hoping Chike would change his mind, hoping he would call her back, hoping love would remember her. But Chike didn't come. He didn't look out the window. He didn't step outside. He was inside, laughing softly with the young woman who had replaced her. Going back to her father's house was never an option. Her father was a proud man. If she returned home pregnant again, abandoned and disgraced, the shame would crush him. She couldn't do that to her family. So she walked and walked, past the village square, past the farmlands, past the mango trees where she once laughed with Chike. Every step felt heavier than the last. Her feet burned. Her stomach tightened. Her daughter cried softly against her back. Night fell. The moon rose. Still, Adaize walked. Finally, at the outskirts of the village, she found a small abandoned hut. Old, dusty, broken at the corners, but still standing. She stepped inside, dropped her load, and sank onto the cold floor. Her daughter called beside her. Adaize held her, trembling. She looked around the empty hut. No lamp, no bed, no water, no food, only silence, only darkness, and the weight of today's heartbreak pressing on her chest. There, in that lonely hut, she rested because she had no strength left to move. She stayed. She stayed because she had nowhere else to go. She stayed because she had an unborn child kicking weakly inside her. She stayed because leaving the village entirely was impossible in her condition. And while Adaize battled tears in that small forgotten hut, Chike continued his life as though she and their children had never existed. He walked around with the young woman, smiling proudly, showing her off at the village square. People whispered. Some criticized him. Some blamed Adaize's condition. Some pitied her quietly. But Chike didn't care. His nights were filled with laughter. His home was filled with the scent of perfume and youthful beauty. His arms wrapped tightly around the woman in the red dress, the same woman who would smile boldly at the villagers while Adaize suffered alone. Days passed. Weeks passed. Adaize struggled in silence, her belly growing bigger, her daughter growing thinner, the hut growing colder. But in the shadow of her suffering, destiny was preparing a storm that would shake the entire village. Adaize stayed in the small, cold hut, far from the laughter of the village. Her daughter became her only comfort. Her unborn child kicked weakly inside her, as if sensing the pain around them. Days turned into weeks. Rain leaked through the roof. Her food ran out. Her strength faded, but she held on. She held on because she had no choice. She held on because mothers do not break even when the world tries to crush them. One stormy night, the sky cracked with thunder. Lightning split open the darkness as Adaeze fell to her knees, her belly tightening. It was time! Her daughter cried as she watched her mother struggle alone. No midwife, no herbs, no water, no husband, just a dying lantern, a frightened child, and a woman fighting for her life. Hours passed. Screams echoed through the tiny hut, and finally, a baby entered the world. A baby whose cry pierced the silence. A baby who, to Adaeze's shock, looked nothing like the first child. This baby had bright, striking features, large, beautiful eyes, full lips, skin smooth and glowing. This child looked nothing like her shrunken, tired mother. This child looked exactly like Chike. Adaeze wept, not in sadness, but in disbelief. Maybe her suffering had been a test. Maybe this child was a sign. Maybe her beauty was never gone, just hidden by the weight of heartbreak. She held her baby close and whispered, "You will not suffer as I have." News spread fast across the village. Women whispered. Men muttered. Children ran barefoot carrying the story. Adaeze has given birth, and the child is beautiful. It reached Chike's ears. At first, he didn't care. But when people began comparing the baby's beauty to his, pride rose in him like smoke. He left the young woman in the red dress and rushed to see for himself. He entered the abandoned hut, the place he had pushed her into. There she was, sitting on the dusty floor, weak, tired, holding a child who looked like a prince. Chike's heart shook. Adaeze, he whispered, stunned. This child, he looks like me. Adaeze lifted her head slowly. Her eyes were hollow, but her spirit wasn't. You abandoned us, she said quietly. You threw me away when I needed you the most. Chike knelt beside her, shame washing over him. Adaeze, forgive me. Come back home. Let us start again. Let me take care of you. The young woman in the red dress appeared at the hut's entrance, her face twisted in jealousy. Chike, what are you saying? He ignored her. He reached for the baby, but Adaeze drew back. She looked him in the eyes, truly looked, and saw the truth. He didn't come out of love. He came out of pride, because the child looked like him, because villagers were whispering. Not because he regretted what he had done. And in that moment, something inside Adaeze finally broke free. Her dignity, her worth, her courage, all returned to her at once. She stood, weak but determined. No, Chike, I will not come back. Chike's eyes widened. Adaeze, think, you have no home. She shook her head calmly. I have peace, something I never had with you. The young woman in the red dress stepped forward. Chike, let's go. And for the first time, Chike looked at her the way he once looked at Adaeze, with disappointment. Leave my house, he barked at the young woman. Get out. The woman gasped, raising her hands in disbelief. You're chasing me out? After all, I said leave. She ran off crying. Chike turned back to Adaeze. Please, Adaeze, I was blinded. Let me fix things. Let me take care of our children. Come home. Adaeze looked at him for a long moment. Then she sighed, tired but peaceful. You broke everything inside me, and some things cannot be fixed. She lifted her newborn, looked at him lovingly. I will raise them alone, far from your hatred, far from your confusion, far from the pain you brought into my life. Chike knelt down, tears rolling down his cheeks. Adaeze, please. But she shook her head. It is too late. She stepped past him, her daughter holding her wrapper, her newborn pressed to her chest. Villagers who had gathered at the scene watched in silence their most beautiful woman walking away from the man who destroyed her. But as she walked, something happened. The baby in her arms glowed softly under the moonlight, and the villagers gasped. "She's beautiful again," someone whispered. And truly, though thin, though weak, though scarred by suffering, Adaize's face had begun to brighten. Her beauty was returning, not because of a man, not because of approval, but because she chose herself. Because she walked away from the one thing that was killing her, Chike. Months later, Adaize built a new life in a nearby village. She opened a small trade. She grew stronger. Her baby grew into a stunning child. Her daughter flourished with joy. People admired her strength. Women respected her. Men admired her from afar. And Chike, his life fell apart. The young woman he chased after abandoned him. His money dried up. People mocked him. And every night, he sat alone, staring at the door, waiting for the family that would never return. Regret became his shadow. He lived with it until the end of his days. Adaize, once the most beautiful maiden in the village, became known for something even greater. The woman who rose from heartbreak and built a life no betrayal could destroy. Her story became a lesson. Her strength became a legend. And her children, they grew up knowing one truth. A mother's courage is more powerful than any storm. The end.